Alright, hey guys, it's me again, and today we're going to revisit Zaku. Now, it's no secret that Zaku isn't in the greatest spot right now, being a CC pseudo-tank that demands power strength, just like the old Vauban, and while also having to use all their abilities together just to do what Vauban does in one button press. The 200% power strength requirement from Gaze is really what held back Zaku's other abilities from being stronger, so I decided to look for solutions to try and fix that. The first thing I decided to try was Hydroid's Corroding Barrage, because statistically it's actually the best AoE armor strip in the helmet system, removing 80% armor with 10 corrosive procs, which is like 2 casts, and it doesn't need power strength at all. But right now the ability is bugged and it ragdolls enemies when it should only be doing knockdowns, which is unfortunate, and I hope DE fixes that. But the next thing I ended up trying ended up being the best. I replaced Zaku's 1 with Helmuth and Power, which gives me 50% extra strength on my next ability cast, which means to hit 100% defense removal, I only need 50% power strength. But why stop there? We can go even further, combine that with Growing Power, and all you need is 25% power strength, which can easily be achieved with Intensify. This makes Zaku no longer a nightmare to build, and now with the extra space in the build, I can make my other abilities better, or mod for survivability, or both. But while this fixes Zaku's build issues, this doesn't fix Zaku's core issues. Anything Zaku can do, Nyx or Vauban can do better. And as soon as any other frame uses CC in your squad, you can't do anything. You're useless. For example, I was doing a sortie survival on public, and we had a Vauban in our squad, and I'm guessing he was using a perpetual vortex build. But to be able to use any of my powers other than my 2, I had to actively find an enemy outside of his range to be able to cast Gaze. That said, was I helping the team? Yes. Could Vauban have done that all by himself? Also yes. I had the most kills in the squad, but that's because I was literally one of the 2 players that wasn't AFK. There are a lot of changes I'd personally make to Zaku, but for right now, this is the best I can do, as I really don't enjoy playing this Warframe at all. Alright, so here's the build. I have Growing Power, Intensify, and Empower to give me 200% power strength for Gaze, but literally that's the only power that needs it. I have Adaptation and Vitality, because this is the most consistent survivability option I've found for Zaku. With all the evasion in their kit, Zaku wants to be played in the air, but you literally cannot do that. Because of the grounded nature of Gaze, kind of want to play Zaku to be melee, but Zaku literally does not have the base stats to really do that on their own, so that's why you have to add Adaptation in there. You could also like stack evasion together with like the Karnus mod set or the Sly Volpophyla or whatever other means of evasion, and that works too. But the problem with the Karnus mod set I found is that the timer is just too short and you have to literally play around it, otherwise it just doesn't work that well. But it is another solid option that Potato did find. I was also struggling on what to put in here, either range or duration, and I went with range because range is better for your teammates in the long run. While duration isn't needed as much because Vast on Time pauses all your other ability timers. With the more duration you have, the less you have to cast Vast on Time in the first place. So duration does help with your energy economy. And if you're not building max efficiency, I'd highly recommend you build duration instead here. I also have Arcane Aegis to keep my shields up a little bit. I have not experimented with adaptation in shields, but what I'm most concerned about is like things like Infested. If they get toxic damage through your shields, you're gone, and you don't have any way of dealing with that at all. So also I'm running Health Adaptation. I've also attempted to try Rolling Guard, and it worked okay on its own, but I'd just rather have Health Adaptation. As well as I also have a weapon to heal myself, in this case the Bosmu. The Bosmu also procs a lot of status, and I'm just running a standard viral build on it. I'm also running the Mara Detron just for nostalgia's sake, so don't really worry about that. And I'm also using the Tellus Boltus as a sort of secondary grouping tool. I just have my standard hybrid build with Corrosive Heat on here. Nothing too special, but when you do a slide attack, it pulls all the enemies nearby in. And this pairs pretty well with Grasp of Luck, which can also be kind of used as a grouping tool, forcing enemies into melee range. But you don't cast this that often because this stays up a lot as like doing, the void damage and whatnot. And that's cool and all, but I'd rather have something else and not have to cast this like every 3 seconds, honestly. And also, if like enemies are avoiding your gaze, or they're just standing around it, then that's what this is good for. I noticed that the Grenier do that sometimes, so that's why I decided to use this. It's also my favorite melee weapon, so that's also a plus. But just to show you how this works, so I have your typical heavy gunner array, right? Cast some power, get some status procs, switch to gaze, and you can see all their defenses are gone. In this case, they only had armor. right? And I deal with them in melee range. And you see this one is avoiding. So I'm just waiting for this cooldown on the storm path, and they're avoiding me, so I'm just gonna pull them right back in. Alright, let's see some other stragglers here. I also wasn't using Vast on time there to pause my ability counter, which you can do. Say if I cast Gaze on this person, that's counting down 14, 13, 12, and then I can pause that timer. But it's you generally want to have that up all the time now. The guns that you can get from Grasp of Lock also deals some damage. So just cast that, take their guns. Now they're forced into melee range, and the guns do okay damage, but it's literally only when they're unarmored do they do good damage. So let me force this enemy into melee range, right? And now they have to come to me now. Like I said, you really need to have all your powers work together in order to get something that other frames can do done in one button press. Like I know I said Nyx and Vauban, so just I'll show you an example. Nyx, I don't have to really stay grounded at all, as I'm running 130% power strength to get full defense removal on psychic bolts. And Nyx can also strip away, like, you know, Eximus ores and the like. Right, so these enemies are marked. I'll just take care of them real fast. Right, and I'll get some more marked enemies, and there's chains and chains and chains, basically. And I don't really have to, like, stay in one spot, because I'm confined to, like, the range of my ability. Now, if I were going to make more changes to Zaku, I know I did say I want to make a lot of changes. I'd make this a toggle and cost half the amount that it does now. So just make this a toggle. This really doesn't need to be a duration ability. The toggle would fix the need for duration, I guess, kinda. But you can kind of run like a sort of like a negative efficiency build, and you could be completely fine, like 40%. With that, then you wouldn't have to worry too much about 200% power strength, because it's not really wasted mind slots anymore. And then you can build for like efficiency and range and whatever you could. I think that would solve a lot of problems. Honestly, these really should just either be one power or just get rid of the other two and just put them on just something else, because I really don't like abilities that need to be comboed together, but they're also like a wheel. That's what I don't like about Vauban that much, is because of Vauban needs to combo a bunch of his mind layers together in order for them to do quite a lot of work, and it's just a lot of button pressing that I feel like could just be more fluid, and that's why I like Protea over Vauban personally. Grasp of Block I feel just needs better base damage. Like a base damage of like what, 50 by default is pretty low. Sure, it has like enemy scaling damage, but like the base damage, even with the scaling up it has, is still way too low. And also I feel like this could be interesting if it procs status, or if it just did the damage that the enemies were going to do, basically. It just took their stats of their weapons and just did that back at them. That would be just way better than this, honestly. And Zaku's one, Zada's Whisper, is better on literally like other Warframes. Way better. Like on Mesa or Umbra, this would be great. It's just make this a toggle. Make this something else. Combine this, or just move some of these powers to a different power, and increase the base damage of this, and just make Zada's Whisper like anything else, right? Like Zada's Whisper, that extra damage could go on Vast on Time, for example. But anyway, guys, that's all for me. Well, I thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and to catch you guys next time. Peace.